wine, C, 1.5 ounces of spirits, or D, they all contain the same amount of alcohol?
I believe that in standard servings, they're all equal. I'm gonna have to go with D.
Are you confident about your answer?
D is my final answer.
You're right. They all contain the same amount of alcohol.
If you want to be a winner, don't drink and drive. A message from the Canada Safety Council and the Association of Canadian Distillers.
In Gear is brought to you in part by Boston Pizza, come and get it all, and Kings Park Speedway, we're kicking asphalt.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the show that puts you in the driver's seat, In Gear, here on Access Channel 7. I'm Joey Hatterspek. We have got a great show planned for you tonight. First off, though, I want to thank all the folks involved with the Majestics Car Show a couple of weekends ago. We were down there, Milton, Dave, and all the rest of the folks from the Majestics took really good care of us. We talked to lots of great people about their cars and had just a total fantastic weekend. So thank you to everyone involved, including my partners, Kelly Heisler and Randy Clark. They did all the filming. They were tired guys at the end, and of course my buddy Barry Davies for helping out as well. So make sure you're there for the 35th Annual Majestics next year. As well, tonight we've got something a little different. A while ago, Barry Davies was out messing around with the wrestlers. Tonight we've got him messing around with some of the Saskatchewan Roughrider football players, so you'll see that a little bit later on Barry's Automotive Adventures. Stay tuned for that, a little something special. And Paul Leitenauer is back with us on the Racer's Edge, a little further along on the building of that Cash Car Sportsman. So we've got that plus a whole bunch more tonight, and you're probably wondering why I'm wearing a leather jacket tonight. Well, I'll explain that in a second, but I really have to take this thing off because it's way too small. Kind of sucks my gut in a little bit. What we are going to talk about tonight are Harley Davidson. That's why I wore my leather jacket, which I got when I was about 14 years old, Dan, and it still fits.
You look mighty handsome.
Not all that well. Dan Zora, thanks very much for being on the show tonight. Dan is the owner, or one of the owners, of Prairie Motorcycles here in Regina. Dan, the shop's been around for a number of years, and it's really changed over the last while. Tell us a little bit about the history of Prairie Motorcycles in Regina.
The shop started in 1936 by a man by the name of Grant Budd, and then he had some partners, Josephine and Lanky Boers, and then I got involved in 1990 just as an employee, and ended up taking over Grant Budd's shares of the business. And now I'm partners with Josephine Lanky, and I got my family involved as well. So it's a real grassroots family operation now.
It's really such a history, such a tradition with Harley Davidsons, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of the dealerships in Canada and the U.S. Have their families involved. It's been passed down more so than a buyout from strangers. Kind of goes hand in hand with the history of the motor company itself.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the folks that started Harley Davidson, it's been pretty much the same family from the start, and I see you try and continue that on with your dealership
Harley
as well.
Davidson Motor Company has got Willie G. Davidson, who was a grandson of the original founding fathers. His daughter Karen Davidson now is heading up the clothing end of it, the designing end of it. So it's really family-oriented blue chip company, really.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was watching a little something a while ago, and they were talking about Willie. He still does a lot of the designing of the bikes, and he is so involved, isn't he?
Yeah, they just built a multi-million-dollar designing facility, and he's the heads-up man on designing of new models. Yeah.
And the daughter, I think, does a lot of, like you said, the clothing end of it.
Yeah,
and
she's actually what you call, I guess, a fashion designer. Designs the leathers, not for playing in a rock and roll band or going to the bar, but for riding.
Right.
And they do have special features because of that.
You know, I mean, I made a little bit of a joke with my old 1970s leather jacket, but that's a big part of it. You know, that's why the guys wear the leathers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's of course it's fashion. It's
Sure.
silly not to say it's not. Everybody wants to look good, but Harley Davidson leathers are cut longer in the arm, so when you hold on to the handlebars, you don't ride up on your arm. They're cut longer in the back, so when you sit on them, they don't pull up your back. Stitched with nylon threads versus cotton, so the weather and the rain doesn't rot them.
Right.
Just features like that.
And safety. I mean, you know, you and I were talking about if you fall off a bike and you see the guys out there in their t-shirts and their shorts, and it's nice and it's comfortable to ride
Oh,
that
yeah.
way, but if you come off, man, that's it. You're
Yeah,
done.
Everybody likes to ride in that kind of attire, I mean, but leathers were designed for protection from the elements and, of course, in case of a spill.
Helmets, same thing. I know we've got the helmet laws here, and you know, you've heard a lot about that. You heard about Nick Nolte, and you heard about Gary Busey, and the guys coming off their bikes, Billy Idol.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of guys that don't want to wear them, but
Oh, yeah. They're uncomfortable, they're hot. I mean, regardless of what they say, they are a safety feature. When you go down to the States, to the big Sturgis rally, so on, a lot of guys take their helmets off. I do the same thing.
Right.
It's a novelty. When you hear of somebody close to you or a friend that gets hurt, it makes you think, and you know, you put it back on. But it's all safety.
a lot of the places like Sturgis, you're not going that much either. I mean, it's a lot of touring, and we're going to talk about that. That's something I've never, unfortunately, had a chance to go to, but a gentleman I used to be friends with was down a number of times. You've been down. Like I say, when you're there, it's more of a touring, it's more of an event,
Yeah.
and you're not kind of going full speed, and that's why sometimes a helmet comes off.
A guy explained to me very well years ago that you have to drive almost like you're invisible.
Right.
You have to drive for the other guy as well. A lot of defensive driving is involved when you're riding a motorcycle.
You brought it up, so let's talk about Sturgis. For those that don't know, huge bike, and I'm not sure if rally is the right word or not, Dan,
yeah,
but
it's a rally. They call it the Sturgis Rally and Races. This coming year is going to be the 60th annual Rally and Races. It was started by a fellow by the name of Pappy Hoyle, who was an Indian motorcycle dealer. Actually, it was started off as an Indian rally.
right.
And when Indian went defunct in '53, it became a Harley-Davidson rally. And the motor company and all sorts of other manufacturers put all those stops to have a big show down there. There's gypsy tours, take you to the beautiful scenery there. There's pubs and bars,
Yeah.
you know, the whole gamut. You see everything down there. It's
That's-
a really nice holiday.
That's exactly what it's like. You know, it's almost like the Detroit Auto Show, but
Exactly.
for bikes, I would imagine.
Yeah, you see everything from regular guy bikes to money's no object bikes down there. It's really don't want to say a circus, but it's really anything you can imagine revolving around motorcycles. The clothing, the product, the motorcycles, the people, they come from all over the world to this rally. It's the world's biggest.
You have a couple of people that you're partners with and that are friends of yours that have been 42 years now, I think,
Yeah,
43
Josephine and
this
Lanky,
year.
they've been down there 42 years in a row. Lanky himself is 73, and Josephine is a couple of years younger than he is. That's their pilgrimage every
Yeah.
year. It's their holiday, and they love it. And I hope I can ride when I'm their age.
Yeah,
to go down there,
exactly.
you know.
Yeah, that'll be
Anybody
nice.
who's ever went for their first time says they're going to go till the day they die. I haven't heard anybody that's had a bad time down there.
And you and I were discussing as well, people load their bikes on the plane from Australia, from Germany, all
Yeah.
over the place.
I talked to a couple from Austria last year. That's what they did. They loaded their bikes on the plane and shipped them there ahead of time.
Right.
And then they got there and rode around, and they were having the time of their lives.
Oh, I bet.
That would be the ultimate vacation. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can imagine us going to Europe for something like that, shipping our bikes, some might think you'd be a little nuts, but once you've been to Sturgis, it's worth it. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's one of those you have to go
Yeah.
to, definitely. All right, folks, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Barry's Automotive Adventures. We set Randy and Barry out on the weekend. Part Source here in town opened up. Barry Davies had a little bit of fun with a couple of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You're going to see that. So let's go and take a look at Barry Davies and Barry's Automotive Adventures here on In Gear.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Barry's Automotive Adventures. We've been waiting and waiting, and the grand opening is today at 4th and Albert Auto Parts Source. What's it all about? Well, we're going to find out right away. Well, when you want to know about something brand new, you go all the way to the top. Just about all the way to the top. The Vice President of Auto Parts Source is here. Jack Dawkins, congratulations on a grand opening.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here in Regina. We've had a great day. Lots of customers. They seem happy. We've got a great staff. We're all trained, anxious to help them out.
Let's talk about what you have to offer us as consumers.
Okay. This store is designed for the Regina marketplace. We have a lot of national brands. We have highly trained professionals behind the counter. We offer lots of testing free, so if a customer isn't sure whether the alternator needs to be changed or not, he can bring it in. We'll test it for him free to make sure that's exactly what he needs. We have a Mitchell On Demand system, so if a customer isn't quite sure how to install something, they can print off from our interactive computer, take it home with them. It also has things like wiring diagrams, technical service bulletins, and safety recall notices that we all need to know.
It sounds like you're aiming at the backyard mechanic, the home mechanic, but what about for the professional mechanic?
You're absolutely right. We run two businesses here. One's a retail store, and it's aimed at the enthusiast and the person that works on their own car in the backyard or in their garage. We also run a very successful commercial program aimed at local small garages to try to help them and provide their service needs, and we run a delivery service and we run a commercial program to satisfy that.
Special interest, special orders, do we do that as well here?
Yeah, in addition to having over 15,000 items in stock here, we're connected computer to 20 of our warehouses across Canada, and we can air freight in from just about anywhere in the country overnight. It is hard to find parts. We're also connected through those warehouses into the United States, into some of the specialty things in California and places like that that really aim at some of the new or the dress-up type of vehicles that we service.
Steve, this is your shop, and you've got to be proud of what you've got behind you.
Oh, extremely. I've had a ball setting it up, and I'm looking forward to a long and profitable business here in Regina.
Let's talk about what you have to offer. Store hours, first of all, or what?
Store hours, Monday to Friday, we're 8 till 9. Long hours. We've got to service those customers. Saturday is 8 till 6, and Sunday is 9 till 5.
And how many staff do you have working with you?
Currently, I have 10. I'm going to probably increase that, though. Looks like it's going to be a very busy place.
I would imagine that the folks that you have employed with you are all mechanics, all have great automotive history.
Everybody has a bit of automotive background. That's part of our line is the parts, the pros, the price. The pros are important to us. That's what anchors everything. Everybody has some automotive. Myself, I'm 16 years. There's a lot of guys that are 10 plus years. There's a lot of experience there. A lot of some licensed techs and tons of knowledge.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people like me who open the hood of a car these days and couldn't find what they're looking for. They bring down what they think is the problem. Will you help them along that way?
Oh, you bet. We have a variety of testing equipment here. We can test ignition modules. We can test your starters. We can test your alternators on and off the vehicle. We have a Mitchell On Demand, as Jack had mentioned, which is a very helpful tool. You can look up, it gives some tech tips, all sorts of things. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the other end of it, which is you finally got the part and you're home and uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What do you mean by uh-oh?
Well, you can't get it in. You've got some problems in that area. Is there a follow-up that you'll offer as well?
You bet. We have, like I said, we have some licensed techs on who are you know, well versed in the business. They've been working on cars for a long time, and we draw on their knowledge to help. They may know a little secret of something that you know, on a particular car, make it a little easier to install, or maybe direct to the correct problem.
All right, let's get that phone number out there so everybody knows it.
You bet. It's 790-7788.
790-7788?
That's right.
All right, there's lots in here, but there's plenty going on out in the parking lot where it's jam-packed. Let's go and have a little bit of fun outside. Boy, lots going on out here in the parking lot, and we ran into some old friends out here from the Northside Street Rod Association. They cleaned up at the Majestic's 34th Annual Car Show here just a couple of weeks ago. 16 awards, and one of the big award winners is a young man that we featured not too long ago, Chad Huelta. We're going to talk to Chad right now and find out how things are going with him. Chad Huelta, you did absolutely phenomenally well at the Majestic's 34th Annual Car Show. The Northside Street Rods, first of all, 16 awards. How many did you get?
I got 4 of those, yeah. It's pretty good, yeah.
Now you took, what were the awards that you got?
I got first of my class, which was rod pickup. I got best under 25, which is anyone in the show who's under 25 years old. I got best commercial, that's all the trucks in there. And then best local vehicle too.
Boy, oh boy, were you shocked?
Oh yeah, I was pretty pleased with that and surprised kind of too, so it's good.
They were calling it the Chad Huelta Show at the end there.
It's nice to finally get the recognition after all these years of putting the hard work into it. So.
You know, we talked about the club being kind of a loosely knit organization, but it seemed to all come together nice and tightly for that show.
Yeah, it's everybody in our club got something, so everyone had a good time too. That's the main thing.
Now you're out here helping with the grand opening of Auto Parts Source. You got to be happy with having the store here.
Yeah, it's looks like it's going to be a nice store. I've been through it, and looks like there's a lot of good parts, good prices in there.
All right, now having said that, what's next on the agenda? What are you going to build now?
I'm probably going to work on my '67 Ford truck, do a little work to that, and just work on that for now. So.
We might see this next year at the car show?
Well, possibly. I don't know. It needs a little more work than that, maybe a couple years, but probably we'll have Dad's 32 out for next year, the one he was working on last time you guys were by. So.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you in the garage again real soon. Congratulations again, Chad.
Thanks, Barry.
Everybody's an auto enthusiast. Dan Farthing from the Riders here, Arkell Trulick. I'll get to Arkell in just a second, but you got, first of all, before we talk automotive, you got to be excited about a football season coming up.
Oh yeah, very much so. I think there's some interesting changes over there at Riderville, and you know, I know it's going to translate to success on the field. I think on both sides of the football, we're going to be radically different than we have been over the past few years, and it's going to be exciting for us, and I think exciting for fans as well.
Okay, let's talk about cars. What's your favorite car, Dan?
My favorite car? Well, if it wasn't for the gas mileage, I think I'd like a Hummer.
Yeah, I'm a big Corvette fan, but I think if I had my choice, no, I gotta have a Corvette. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So, but all in all, with the season, I'm looking forward to seeing, what the new change could do for us as a whole, as a whole team, and as an organization itself. So, wait and see. We got just a month away, and we'll get at it and get some good things going.
I know a lot of folks are wondering how the headaches are, how the concussion healed up. Everything okay?
Yeah. Now, I felt like I played tentative many times because of the fact maybe that it did hurt me more than I thought it did, but. I look at it now, you can't look back, and many times I think I did, so now it's full steam ahead, It's all behind me. It's been behind me for some time now. Now it's time to, take the next step.
All right, let's talk about that Corvette up there. It's got personalized plates, the BAM. What's that mean?
The BAM is, see, I must admit, don't nobody think about this, but I'm a mama's boy, and and that's a thing that my mother came up with. So, when I got the Corvette, that was something that she liked, and when I got it, she wanted me to do that to it, and I did that for her, in respect to something that she wanted. So, the BAM is something that she thought of.
Okay. So if somebody playing against you starts calling you mama's boy, you're gonna BAM them.
There you go. They get the BAM.
Hey, listen, something I wanted to talk to you about. You almost got beaten by the mayor in this tire change competition over here.
No. You see, what you need to understand here is that it was a practice run.
Oh, okay.
See, so I was really trying to get the people to see how it actually goes. So if I went too fast, then they wouldn't see it.
Okay.
They wouldn't see how it gets done. So now that the competition's on, because I'm a competitive man, and I hate to lose. And if I lost one time, I lost another time. But now it's time to win. So when we get back on there again, I'm gonna be the fastest on there.
But I mean, to lose to the mayor. Oh
my God! We can't keep saying that. See, I'm not gonna lose the next time. He may have won now, but that's right. He won because it was a practice run. Other than that, no.
Farthing slipped $5 in my pocket, said he could take you easy.
$5 won't do it. You have to raise the stakes a little bit there, because I tell you, I'm not gonna lose this time around. I mean, I'm confident, I'm ready, and I'm willing. And whoever wants to come on and get it, bring it.
Okay, well, Dan, I need another $45 to make this fair. You said already that you could whoop them.
Well, I was talking to a little child over here. I missed this conversation. Am I supposed to get riled up about something? What?
No, well, what you said about the tire change competition. You could whoop Arkell.
you know, I think I'll let my performance speak for itself. I'm not all talk. I'll let my performance speak for itself.
You could get the BAM here, you know.
I will get the BAM. I guarantee I will get the BAM.
Let's go find out how good these guys really are off the football field. All right, here he goes. He's looking pretty quick.
No, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Look, he's scared, look, he's nervous, He doesn't want to do it, He's already at 30 seconds already. I beat him already. Hey, it's cheating, that's cheating, and you can't help him out. That's what I'm talking about now. That's what I'm talking about, see? Look, I already won before I even sat down there.
One little point here. It's a minor point, but after you put the tire on, you were screwing the lug nuts off again.
Yeah, you know, I just don't have experience in the area. You know, it's a time when I should have probably called CAA.
All right, here he goes. They're coming off. What do you think so far?
Always looking pretty smooth, looking pretty confident. I see he's only down on one knee. Look at that. I tell you, they should make him hold up the car, too. Oh, you remember to do the switch, flick the switch, which was my error for sure. No!
I'll tell you there. Beat him bad. I beat him like he stole something. See, I guaranteed it, and it won. And I won. There's really nothing else to say. I don't need AAA because of the fact that I told you I was gonna beat the man. I told you how many times I'm gonna beat him. I beat him. Now that's it. That's it. Anybody else want any other competition? If there's anybody out there on the clear blue sky, when you want to come on and bring it and see if I'm gonna beat you, come on.
I'm here now. It's my turn to BAM the BAM. We'll see what happens.
I'm ready when you are. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Take your time. All the way around, all the way. Oh!
Well, I'll tell you, it's been a lot of fun, but I'm getting real hungry, and so is my producer, Randy Clark, so we're in the hot dog lineup right now, but boy, this is a long lineup. I'm going to try and sneak ahead a little bit here. See, girls, do you mind if can I cut in? Can I cut in? I may get the last hot dog, though. Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Melody.
What's your name?
Hannah.
I like your hat.
Thanks.
And what's your name?
Charity.
It's okay if I stand here now?
Yeah.
Okay, I moved up a little bit in the line. Hey, thanks for joining me for Barry's Automotive Adventures. We're going to eat right now.
May be becoming a thing of the past. Scientists now assemble vehicles piece by piece on computer to exact specifications, and now cars can be crashed time and time again without denting a darn fender, and that makes it a lot safer. And although the camera wasn't there, I do want to go on record. I was also down at Part Source a little later in the day, 20.48 seconds, so not the greatest, but I'm pretty sure I beat Davies, so sorry, Barry. Time for Auto World News. Lights out for the electric car. Battery-powered vehicles prove impractical, some experts say. The battery-powered family car seems to be going the way of the jetpack as basically a vision of the future. Eclipsed by new gasoline-electric hybrid cars and more distant promise of vehicles powered by fuel cells, battery-powered autos are quietly biting the dust. They're too expensive and too limited in range. Automakers complain, urging California to scrap a law that requires the sale of a large number of these cars by the year 2003. God just doesn't want us to have full-function electric vehicles, says John Wallace, the executive director of Ford's Think program, which oversees electric and alternative vehicles. The laws of nature just don't allow for this, he says. Ford has changed its future electric dreams from the massive 1988 electric Ranger truck to something just a little bit smaller and more like a souped-up golf cart. Ford's neighbor car can't go more than 25 miles per hour and is intended by Think for running errands in places of planned communities and, in other words, other small markets. Think of all battery cars as microwave ovens for the roads, said Bob Purcell, Executive Director of General Motors Advanced Technology Vehicles. It comes as a complementary vehicle in your garage and not your main source of driving. On somewhat the same note, drivers will get a charge out of bigger car batteries. As Americans put more gadgets in their cars, from fax machines to microwave ovens, automakers are looking to build bigger and better batteries. And that may end up increasing auto mileage and decreasing air pollution, and here's how. Automakers are close to agreeing on tripling the voltage of car batteries from 12 to 36 volts. That would enable a car battery to run more accessories with less power in its wiring. A bigger battery would also allow companies to add new electronic starting devices, which would automatically shut the car down when decelerating and fire it back up again when accelerating. The leader in this research is Ford. The innovation comes from hybrid engine research using bigger batteries and gasoline to power these new vehicles. GM plans to introduce a so-called milder hybrid vehicle with an automatic engine shutoff later this year, says their director of future advancements. That is going to do it for Auto World News for this evening. Dan, let's get back into talking about two wheels for a little while. And actually, if we could, let's take a look at this great bike that you've had a chance to bring down. Is this your personal one?
Well, this is actually my wife's bike. It's a year 2000 Heritage Softail.
There are a few modifications on that one, but that's kind of the way it comes from out of the showroom, eh?
Yeah, there's a couple little billet aluminum pieces that I made for it. It's had some engine work done on it. Basically, though, it's we took the windshield off for the show because it was interfering with the lights. So that
Yeah.
Basically, that's the way it comes out of the box. Yeah.
But that's the thing with the bikes is you can do so much with them. I mean, I've seen guys that have put so much chrome onto their bike, and it just looks fantastic.
Down at Sturgis, there's some bikes that don't even look like bikes anymore.
Right.
But, I mean, practicality goes down with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's one person that drives a bike that the way it came right out of the box. You know, it's they have to do something to it to personalize.
You make it your own.
Yeah.
Exactly. You've got the saddlebags, and you can do a lot with that. You talked about the grips, and they've got the Zs on them, or the Zs. Where are we from? Are we from Canada? Yeah, it's Zs, right? I am Canadian. But you can do a lot of different things, and of course there's a cost associated, but you can get some of these add-ons for the bike down at the shop, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, we have a machine shop there. We make a few of them right in-house, and Harley-Davidson supplies a vast array of accessories, as well as other companies, aftermarket companies. You can buy pretty much whatever you want. You could build a bike easily.
Right.
Totally aftermarket.
Right from scratch, eh? Yeah. Including, you can come down and, can you guys get replacement engines in that? If a guy wants, if he's got an older bike, he wants to put something new in?
Yeah, you can buy engines from Harley-Davidson and aftermarket companies. Of course, we lean more towards the Harley-Davidson product, but you can buy anything. To put it short, you can buy anything.
Right, exactly. Customization as well. You guys do a lot with that. I know your dad, when we talked to you guys at the car show a little while ago, had that beautiful old, and we can mention Indian. We won't mention some of the other ones, but we can mention Indian. He had that great bike that he put back together, and you put, I'm sure, a lot of bikes back together as well.
Yeah, he's got quite a few antique bikes dating back to 1912. Just does it for the love of motorcycles.
Right.
But they can be beautiful, old, new. It doesn't matter, whatever blows your hair back.
Yeah, exactly. And guys can bring them in, and you've got suggestions, and if they've got some ideas, they can kind of give that to you, and you can take it from there?
Yeah, performance is a big thing nowadays. Everybody wants to be able to go faster. The cars are getting smaller engines, but higher performance. Same thing with bikes, not that they're getting smaller engines, but performance is a big thing. Everybody wants a bike that performs.
Exactly. Well, we were talking about the shop, so we've actually got some footage up right now, so let's talk a little bit about it. There's... For starters, just some of the bikes on the demo floor.
That's the main showroom, yeah. The bikes are getting a little bit sparse. We're almost out of 2000 model bikes.
Really?
The 2001s will start coming out in August. We'll have them on a floor in August.
Just some beautiful, beautiful bikes. That's the thing. But of course, like any dealership, if they don't see one in the showroom, they can pick from? I mean, you've got a great looking catalog you brought down, you've got that to choose from, and I'm sure there's lots of ways that they can choose their own personal bike.
Oh yeah, most people when they come in, they know exactly what they're looking for.
Right.
They don't come in and want you to sell them on a bike. Usually they know what they're looking for, and all you have to do is go over the fine details, what it can do for them and what can be done to it to personalize it.
You guys will give them a paint job on the bikes as well? Is that something that you guys get into?
Yeah, we don't have an in-house paint facility, but there's not many people who change the paint right away because, again, Harley's got beautiful paint already, and they've got a multi-million-dollar paint facility that GM and Ford are very jealous of.
Up on the screen, we just saw the speedometer up to 180. Are the bikes going to do that? I mean, I know a lot of the times the speedometer doesn't always show you true, but...
They may not do that right out of the box, but when you put a little bit of goodies in the engine, definitely.
Racing's come back with Harley-Davidson. You see a lot of the circle track stuff and the guys riding the bikes again.
Yeah, a lot of circle track. Hill climbing's coming back in.
Yeah.
Drag racing, of course, is very big if you can afford it.
Right. Exactly. Just some great bikes, you guys. And again, these are all some of the bikes that are in store, folks, down at Prairie Motorcycle. You want to head on down. Why don't we give them the address? I don't think we've mentioned that yet.
It's the 1355 McIntyre.
Something we're going to talk about a little later on is you guys have a demo ride, so people are going to get a chance to come down this coming Sunday and take some bikes for a ride.
Yeah, it's an annual event we have every year. The Harley-Davidson tractor trailer comes, and we have a barbecue going on. We block off the whole block of McIntyre. It's a show and shine. Hopefully it'll shine.
Yeah,
Sunday.
exactly.
And people are welcome to bring their bikes down, whatever brand. We don't care.
Right.
And park them on the street and show them off. And you register your name and you can take a brand new Harley out for a ride, 2,000 models. It's a group ride. We go out to the Ipsco corner, turn around, come back. It's about 13 clicks.
Great.
And you can ride everything from the Sportsters all the way to the big deckers.
Right.
What a better chance to take a brand new Harley for a ride.
Exactly. Up on the screen, folks, we've got some of the accessories. Just again, just a bunch of different saddlebags. We saw some of the parts that the people can buy. What do we got up there now?
That's helmets,
Right.
different styles, different colors. Not only do people like to personalize their bikes, they like to personalize their attire. you
Right.
know.
A lot of the guys don't wear the full helmets on the Harleys. You see a lot of the half helmets, eh?
Yeah, that just seems to be a stereotype with Harleys.
Yeah.
There's a few guys. I shouldn't say, there's some, but it's just not the stereotype with Harleys.
I guess you kind of get the best of both worlds, right? You get the safety of still wearing the helmet, but you get a little bit of freedom. It's not the full face mask.
Well,
and
the
that.
one thing, a lot of the touring Harley motorcycles have windshields come with them.
Right.
So you don't really need a full face, with the visor and
The
so on.
visor and the chin and that.
Whereas the dirt bikes and some of the some of the other touring bikes are not dirt bikes, but
Right.
a lot of them don't have windshields that are functional with our so-called Saskatchewan winds.
With our winds and our bugs, eh?
Yeah.
Some stuff in the case. That's another thing that Harley's really gotten back big into. We talked about, one of the founders' granddaughters being someone that represents this product and builds these product lines. Jeans, hats,
everything from
belts.
jeans, belts, boots, rings. There's one of those
Pigs.
little stuff there. Yeah, the kids go wild over those.
Yeah, I know.
It's all collectible stuff. People that have bikes, their parents or grandparents or other relatives will come in and buy them something for Christmas,
Right.
to decorate their living room or something. And that's all part of the Harley experience.
Here's the part that I loved when I came down to talk to you the first time was coming in the back shop, and you had some stuff back there. I see you're working on a bike right here.
That's my cousin Simon, actually. He's one of our mechanics.
Yeah.
That's what my job is. I run the back shop, and Rob and my wife Valerie and Partsman Bob and Josephine run the front. That's my dad there working on an antique 45 Harley engine.
You know, that's another thing that we've talked about. That's a big symbol of Harley is that engine and the way that they set those up. And when I came down, there was a few sitting out, and even just sitting out there, and you guys are working on them, they look awesome.
Yeah,
they don't even have to be on the bike.
Decoration,
Yeah. Yeah, we got just a ton of stuff that you guys can do down there so that people can bring their bikes and people can come in and just take a look. I mean, I'm sure you got to have a lot of people walking in and looking at the bikes and looking at some of the accessories.
It's kind of a social place too,
Yeah.
On Saturday morning our parking lot's full of bikes. People come in, have a coffee, maybe they buy something, maybe they don't, but
Right.
they just get the buzz of what's going on. If somebody's going for a ride, away they go, drop of the hat sort of thing.
Yeah.
If it's a nice day, I'm always ready to go for a ride and drop the hat.
Yeah,
Sometimes I
exactly.
can't because I'm working, but
Yeah,
I like to
that's
go.
right. You know, at some point, you have to take me at least for a spin now. I hate to say it, but I don't have my license, so
well.
I got to come down and maybe at least get a ride at some point.
The Saskatchewan Safety Council's got courses on all summer.
You know, I
And
know
you
that.
You can take that and then write your license, and once you do, you'll wish you would have done that years ago.
Yeah, actually, the thing is right behind where I work is right where the Saskatchewan Safety Council does all their training. I see them
Oh, yeah,
back there
yeah.
all the time, and I'm going, you know, I should probably do that one of these times. Because, again, for the ride, we talked a little bit about it while the footage was on, but as long as you've got a valid license, bring your helmet.
Yeah,
or
you have to have a valid motorcycle license, I should clarify
Right,
that,
yes,
not just
yeah,
for learners.
yeah.
Proper footwear, which means over-the-ankle shoes, and a DOT-approved helmet, and away you go.
Now, the big truck comes in, the big Harley-Davidson truck
Yeah, the tractor
comes
trailer
in,
comes in.
and how many bikes on there?
There's, I think, 13 or 15 they put on there. It's a double-deck trailer. It's all
Right.
painted in the orange and black Harley colors. It's a
You're not
sight
gonna
in
miss
itself.
it. Exactly. And that's this Sunday.
This
coming up,
Sunday,
right?
yeah, from 9 to 4.
Barbecue, the whole 9 yards?
Yeah, we got a barbecue happening from Master Barbecue, our friends there, and Pepsi Cola is going to provide some pop for us, and
It's gonna be
hopefully
great.
it'll be a beautiful day.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it turns out. If not Monday, I think you had said?
Yeah, if they can stay by for a few days, if they haven't got any previous engagements, which they don't,
Right.
They'll stay by and we can hold it over Monday or Tuesday if it's raining.
That's great. Folks, we've got the phone key up right now, so you can give us a call if you like, 565-5376. If you got some questions for Dan, and, you know, we can always throw in a couple of race questions every once in a while if you don't mind. You know, you like racing, I think, don't you?
Yeah.
Did you watch the NASCAR race on the weekend?
No, I didn't. I was farming on the weekend.
Well, it's okay. An Earnhardt one, so you didn't miss
Oh,
anything. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So, folks, if you've got some questions, give us a call, 565-5376. We've talked about a couple of the brands. Let's start with the Sportster. That's kind of the, if you're going to get into it and you don't have tons to spend, you can kind of start with a Sportster.
Sportsters will start at $10,000 with the government share included.
Right.
A lot of people years ago thought they were a women's bike. They're realizing now that they're Harley's hot rod motorcycle.
They're lighter. I got to imagine that, you know, lighter is faster sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
they come with an 883 or a 1200 cc power plant, which is, you know, when you get to looking at them, they're all engine.
Right.
They're not a wimpy bike whatsoever. But that's the starting point is the Sportsters.
And there's a couple of different models within the Sportster as well. I was out on the webpage, and I don't think we've had a chance to mention it, folks, but it's www.prairiemotorcycle.com, and there's lots of information on there. You can get to the bikes, and you've got some used bikes on there as
Yeah,
well.
we've got a used bikes that we have down at the shop. We've also got the local events that are happening, and a little bit about our shop as well.
But you can go and you can take a look at all the models, and some pictures
Yeah.
come up, obviously, then
Yeah.
you take it from there on your own.
We've
but
also got the link to the genuine Harley-Davidson
Right.
Motor Company site from that too. But yeah, it'll give you all the options, different models, the Huggers, the 1200 Customs, 1200 Sports, and so on.
Right, okay. Well, we've got a couple of calls, so let's get to them. Thanks very much. You're on In Gear.
Hey there.
How you doing?
Doing good. Question. I've been considering buying a bike, and I've been on a few rallies with buddies. Got quite a few friends that are into it. But, you know, the guys that got these bikes, they're $20,000, $25,000 bikes, they spend a lot of time, if I can just say, fixing them. Can you address that? And, you know, just as a concerned guy, that what's up with that?
Mainly, sir, that used to be in the old days. Nowadays, they're so improved that there's no reason to have them in the shop all the time.
Yeah, and so I want
It's like a car where you just have to change the oil. And a lot of guys, not to say that you're wrong, but they may not be fixing them, they may be accessorizing them to the point that they're personalizing, you know, like we were talking about.
Gotcha, yeah, these are all kind of backyard or you know, they're definitely, I wouldn't call them mechanic type people, but they always seem to be spending, if they're riding for an hour, they're, you know, in the garage for one or two, so I'm a low maintenance kind of guy, I wouldn't mind, but just wanna go.
Yeah, to put your fears at rest, there's, if you buy a new bike, there's none of that you have to ride for an hour, fix for an hour. A lot of times what they're doing is just tinkering and enjoying them in the garage as well as on the highway.
I think a lot of the times, too, is that maybe there's some older bikes that they're in the process of restoring. And I think I know where you're coming from, caller, but again, with a lot of the new bikes, Dan, there's not as much. I mean, it's like buying a new car now, right?
Yeah, if you've got an antique bike, they were high maintenance, and they always will be. I mean, the parts are 40, 50 years old, there's metal fatigue and so on.
Right.
They require a little bit of tinkering. But on the new ones, that's not the case at all.
All right.
That's it, thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we got lots of calls, so let's just get to another one. Hi, thanks very much for holding. You're on In Gear.
Hi, thanks a lot. Besides the Earnhardt joke there, I have a question for Dan.
Sure. You got a problem with me making fun about Earnhardt?
Yeah.
All right, well, I won't do that anymore.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I will, but not anymore of this show. How's that sound?
Okay.
Okay.
I heard in the motorcycle gear, in the leathers, that they put some kind of a mesh in like the elbows and knees and stuff with them. Is that true? Is that like an extra safety feature?
Have they got some stuff in there?
Well, Harley-Davidson has got some leathers that have got like a nylon mesh on the inside, and what that does is it's for cooling, to let your body breathe. Some of the other companies may have mesh in the knees and stuff for flexibility of bending, but Harley is not big on that. But the mesh they do have is on the inside for cooling.
Okay, so the leather itself is enough to protect you if you fall off your bike.
Yeah, Harley-Davidson uses very heavy leather. It's drum dyed so that if you do scratch it, the black is all the way through. It doesn't show brown leather. But it is tested, and Harley-Davidson leathers are for riding motorcycles. That's what they're designed for.
Okay, well, cool. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your call.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Why black? How come it's always black?
Well, black is fashionable,
Yeah.
for one thing. Number two is when they started making leathers, black was the cheapest way they could dye and preserve the leather, so they
Right.
just continued that on with tradition.
Okay.
And of course the 50s in Hollywood played that up with
a little bit with
Jimmy
Brando
Dean,
and James
black
Dean.
leather jacket.
Yeah.
But it's fashionable as well.
And we all have our black leather.
Yeah, there's lots of other colors too
Sure.
that are very nice, but black just seems to be the color.
Seems to be the one of choice. All right, we are now going to go to another one of our segments. Paul Eitenauer has been building a cast car Sportsman from the ground up. We've got the chassis built. I believe we've got the roll cage in. Now, I know we have the roll cage in. And I think we're going to put the front end together tonight and do a little bit more work on that cast car Sportsman. So why don't we do that now? Here's Paul Eitenauer on the Racer's Edge here on In Gear.
Hi, I'm Paul Eitenauer. Welcome to Racer's Edge. Since the completion of our cage that we've done last time, we're going to go now on to some of the other parts of the car, the front end, the rear end, and I've actually also started to mount the body here, trying to get ahead of the game a little bit. What we're going to start off today, I'm going to show you some of the components of the front end here that I've laid out for you. First, we're going to go into the lower control arm here. This is a Ford control arm, which we're actually going to be putting on this Chev clip. I've had this sandblasted, ready for the suspension components, the ball joint up here, and the bushings at the lower end to go in. And on our car, we do use the stock lower control arms. Now, going over to the upper control arms, this here is the upper control arm, which is a stock component. And what we have here is the aftermarket piece that we're going to be using. This one's actually a tubular upper A-arm. That's worth about $70. Now going on to this big yellow spindle here, this spindle's actually off of a 1972 Chev Impella. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive on that. And a little bit over here we have the stock rotor. I will be purchasing some new rotors. This one's pretty rusted. We're just going to use this to get set up. And from here we're going to go down to the actual front frame itself and show you some of the parts that I've cut off and why I've cut them off. Now when we started here, this here is the stock upper control arm mount. I've ground this off with the grinder. We're going to take this off the chassis. And by doing that, we're left with a large hole in the middle. And this here was in the frame, and I've also cut this out. This is where the spring actually sits up against. We've cut that out, and we've replaced it with a plate. This is a 1/4-inch plate that I've made and centered over top the spring. Also on this plate here, to mount the upper control arm, we've got a couple slots here made out of 1.5 inch tubing. And this upper control arm we're going to be bolting onto these slots, and this will actually slide back and forth, and this will give us our camber and caster, which will help us get through the corners a little bit. Now, going from there, we'll be going down to the lower control arm and showing how the spring and the weight jack pot gets mounted into the spring, and everything gets bolted up with the spindle and the rotor. Let's go down to the lower control arm, and I'll show you some of the beefy front end parts that we've put into this lower control arm. Again, this is the Ford lower control arm, and what I've done here on the front, this is where the ball joint goes. Normally this ball joint would press into here, and what I've done, I have purchased a sleeve which I've positioned and welded all the way around in the control arm, and this sleeve has threads in. What we have here is a mid-60 Dodge ball joint that we've put into this Ford lower control arm. This ball joint is a lot beefier than the stock ones, and it'll take some of those good hits doing about 60 or 80 mile an hour, and hopefully it won't bend on us. Now we'll just position this down a bit, and on the center of this control arm is where the spring sits. And again, I've got the weight jack pot that goes inside the spring, and then we're going to just slide it up inside and get this all positioned. We're going to slide the spring up first because this is going to go inside of the bolt here. There. Now once this is positioned, we're going to be putting on our little bit heavy here, quite a bit of weight. We're going to be putting on the spindle here. I've got a special reamer that we've actually enlarged the holes on the lower and upper part of the spindle here to accept these big ball joints. And all this does, it slides over, fits right on. And then what we're going to take, they call a castle nut here. All of the front end parts have these special nuts that have slots in, because when they're tightened up, we then put a cutter pin through so that these nuts do not come off the car. We're just going to snug up the nuts here for you today. Then we'll be installing the upper control arm. Having all the parts new, they're all pretty tight and hard to move. We'll get a nut on here for you. Then we're going to install the upper control arm here with 2 bolts on our front slider. These are 5/8 bolts. They're a grade 8 bolt. Pretty well through the whole car. I use a grade 8 nut and bolts throughout pretty well everything. Just get these started a bit for you. There. Now we're going to slide around. We're going to mount the front rotor onto our spindle. Again, we'll be purchasing some new rotors for the car here. Repacking all the bearings and getting everything set perfect for race day. And from here we're going to be putting on our inner and outer tie rod and our center link and getting that mounted up to the steering box. So going across to the center link, we go to the inner tie rod end, the sleeve, and the outer tie rod end. Going back down to the sleeve here, this sleeve consists of right hand and left hand threads, which is on each of the tie rod ends. And by turning this sleeve, we'll actually set the tie rod ends further out or closer together, and this will give our toe on the car. Most cars run about 0 to 1/8 of an inch toe out. And from here, we're just going to install it onto the spindles. Now, to install this, the center link is mounted to what we call the idler arm. This holds it, the steering in place on the passenger side. We're going to slide this up in here. Again, everything is tapered, which gives it a nice tight fit once we have the nut snugged down on it. Those threads are pretty tight. And once we've tightened up the idler arm, we'll be going over to the steering box. The short arm here is called the pitment arm. We'll be putting another one of the nuts, or the castle nuts, on top here. Those threads are a lot easier. And from here, we're going to be putting on the tie rod ends onto the spindles. We're all out of time this week. Next week, we'll be showing you the assembly of our floater rear end for our cast car. I'm Paul Eitnier. Thank you for watching Racer's Edge.
Did you know the word petrol was first coined in 1899 by the Carlos Capel and Leonard Company at the suggestion of Frederick Sims, who imported the first Daimler into the UK. The fuel earlier used to be called by the name petroleum spirits. So another one of those where did that come from ones. All right, folks, we've had a couple of people waiting online very patiently for us. Dan, we've got 3 more types of bikes to talk about, but let's take another one of these calls and we'll get to some of the other bikes. Hi, thank you very much for holding. You're on In Gear.
Hi.
How are you?
Not too bad. You're talking to me, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have a question for your friend there that's got the bike shop.
Yep.
And I'm kind of short in one end. And a couple friends of mine that drive for RAMI and a few other guys in town here said that I could probably ride lowrider because I'm only about 5'4", 4.5.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, would that be really? Could I control that bike if I was running a lowrider?
Is there a specific type of bike that a certain height person should ride then?
Actually, my wife's Softail that's right out in front of us here, she's very short, and Harley-Davidson offers lowering kits for the front and rear of any bike. The Softails are actually the easiest bikes to ride because you sit in the frame instead of on top of them, so your center of gravity is lower.
Right.
Make it short, the Softails are the easiest and lowest bikes to ride out of the whole lineup.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the others in there, and then we've got one more call we're going to get to. But the Dyna's the next step up, I guess, price range, and then as well, kind of sportability as well.
Yeah, the Dynas are kind of a sport bike. The Dyna Superglide is the cheapest bike with the big twin motor in it.
Right.
It hasn't got the chrome and black motor. It's all glass beaded, which leaves it wide open for accessorizing.
Okay.
Then they make it right up to the Dynaglide Sport, which is kind of a hot rod Dyna frame.
Version of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Softail. A lot of people know the name Softail.
Yeah. The name Softail comes by the fact that when you look at the rear portion of the frame, it's like the old hardtail or
Okay.
the no suspension rear ends that they had in the 50s.
Right.
Your rear suspension was in your seat. It had a plunger with springs. The Softails have got longitudinally, I guess, mounted shocks underneath that provide suspension, just as much suspension as all the other models,
Okay.
except that you can't see them.
Right.
You see the frame and it looks like the old 50s style rear end.
The older
It's really a
style.
50s style bike is what it looks like.
And then they've cleaned it up quite a bit. A lot more chrome and that on it.
Yeah,
than
it's
you
got
used
all
to
the
see.
modern amenities that the new bikes have,
Right.
but it looks old style. That's what the Softail is all about.
Okay, we talked about the $10,000 bike. Let's talk about the Tourings, which are the 37. I think we looked up that was the most expensive one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Basic. Now, you can add a lot to that, but 37 is probably going to be your start, your base model
Yeah,
price.
you can tour with those, of course, anywhere in the world, right
Right.
out of the box. You can with any bike.
Okay.
These are more suited towards people that ride 2-up and go long distances.
Okay.
Like I say, you can go long distances on any bike, but this one's got stereo, electronic cruise control,
Right.
speakers in the back for the passenger as well as the front, all the bells and whistles.
Exactly. So if you're going down to Sturgis, you come and you buy the Touring from you, and then you go down to Sturgis this year, right?
Oh, the touring bike is really suited to people who do a lot of long-distance touring.
Okay.
They don't necessarily ride it back and forth to work. That's the biggest gamut of people that buy those.
Exactly. We want to take a little bit more of a look at your bike before we get out of here for this evening. Again, got the demo ride coming up for those that want to come down, take a ride. They've got to have their license, their motorcycle license. They got to bring their helmet along.
That's right. You got to bring your helmet and proper footwear.
Right.
And come and have a good day. Spend the whole day. It's a group ride, and you can ride anything from the Sportsters all the way up to the big deckers. It's free of charge. And we take a voluntary donation for the barbecue. It goes to Muscular Dystrophy Association.
Okay.
And we just invite everybody to come down with in-store specials, buy it open house, and see what we're all about.
Great. As well, folks, don't forget you can head on right down to the shop, see them. The address, again, I've got it in front of me, but you know where you go every morning.
1355 McIntyre. It's right kitty corner from A&B Sound. And that's where we are.
All right. And on the web as well, folks, if you want to go, www.prairiemotorcycle.com. So, Dan, I want to thank you very, very much for being on the show
Thanks
tonight.
for having me.
Hopefully we can come out and have a ride on Sunday. And
Sure.
again, if the weather's bad, we're going to go to Monday for
Yeah,
that.
Monday, Tuesday, whatever it takes, but we're going to do her.
All right. People can come down, talk about bikes as well. Like you said, the Saturday morning coffee drinkers.
Oh,
if
they
wanna
can
down
come
and see it.
anytime. We don't turn anybody away. Anybody wants to call us on the phone and ask us questions, there's no stupid questions.
Exactly.
We're in it for the sport of motorcycling, and that's what we try to promote.
All right. Thank you very much again for being on. Folks, want to remind you, Boston Pizza South is where we're going tonight. I guess I can't remind you because that's the first time I told you, and my apologies for not sharing that earlier, but we are going to be heading down to the Ray Street location of Boston Pizza, just across from Southland Mall, and you can come down, you can talk about bikes, you can talk about cars, anything you like. Basically, what we'd like to do throughout the summer with Boston Pizza is have you come down, bring your hot rods, bring your cars, come down, see us, fill up their parking lot with a bunch of great-looking vehicles, so we want to see you there. That's going to do it for another episode. Christopher and Riley, go to bed. Thanks very much, folks. We'll see you next Thursday night here on In Gear.
In Gear is brought to you in part by Boston Pizza. Come and get it all. And Kings Park Speedway. We're kicking asphalt.
Now, early in the week, the coach told us that you were ready to go. You know, did you feel a little nervous? You know, were you a little hesitant a little bit? I mean, what came over you today? You know, unfortunately, you didn't win, but you were so close. So, you know, the coach told us that you're really ready this week. So, you know, could you give us an idea of how you prepared?
Well, I got up this morning, had a Pop-Tart, and I figured that was going to help me out quite a bit.